So, hello everyone. I'm not sure if the video was launched before starting the webinar, but otherwise we can just start.
Hello, Yalda.
Hello. Hello everyone. This is Yalda from my DSO Manager. Thank you for being present for today's webinar. Thank you for being such numerous. And here I am with my colleague Jeremy Cruz. Jeremy, would you like to say hi to the participants?
Hi.
And yeah, today we are with the topic that we communicated a month ago. It's about data analytics, the new functionality of my DSO Manager, which is called Insights, and a little bit of artificial intelligence, maybe if we have enough time, and all into matter of effective practices for credit managers. So, a little introduction about the company, and for those who may not be aware of what we do exactly, my DSO Manager is providing a credit management platform in terms of SaaS, software as a service, or cloud-based, meaning that you can access your platform anywhere in the world, anytime you would like, by your smartphone, your tablet, your laptop, and it was created by credit managers for credit managers. And it's kind of a particularity in my DSO Manager because most of the employees are senior credit managers, and that's kind of emphasized on to what extent company values the expertise of this field. The company was founded in 2015, and we come from the French Alps, for those who are in love with the mountains. And yeah, we are today present in 85 countries. One of the interesting things that my colleague said, that the sun never sets in the empire of my DSO Manager, because there's always there's always one person who is using my DSO Manager. Imagine in 85 countries, it's absolutely possible. And today, more than 1,500 clients are using the platform, and good achievement in terms of the figures was that more than 128 billion euro of invoices have been paid by the platform of my DSO Manager in last 12 months. So to start the subject of today, I can start on the simple question of what is data. So I'm addressing you, Jeremy, as credit manager. What is really data in credit management, and what's its mission in terms of security, in terms of quality, accessibility, and yeah.
Okay. Well, in terms of credit management, in my opinion, there are four different types of data. We have the customers' data, addresses, industries, payment terms, etc. Then we have the items data, so invoices, credit notes, partial payments, and of course the amounts tied to these items. Thirdly, we have the contacts data at your customer places, like the accounting department, financial department, dispute department, logistic, etc. And then ultimately, in the credit management softwares, we have the very own users of such softwares, which can be as well a valuable source of information. And all of these, these data combined mean something and are, in my opinion, really important. Data is one of the key assets of the future, and it is no secret that huge, really big companies like Google, Amazon, or Facebook collect such data, sell them, and build entire strategies on it. And when you know how to use these data, you can predict different things And in MyDSO, that's the case. You can predict payment behaviors, you can predict cash forecasts, sales, etc.
Yeah.
So, well, the idea is to have these data, and in our software, at least, they come from mainly two different sources: the client, the client database, and the accounting system.
Yeah. Right. So you mean that, for example, those four categories of data that you mentioned, they can be internally accessed, or there are maybe some external resources for the data in credit management as well. For example, there are maybe digital portals that credit managers connect to them, and
Yeah,
they will provide also some information or data for them.
yeah, I was talking about the internal data, but there are also different sources of external data, such as financial information providers like Dun& Bradstreet or Atlas, credit insurance as well to have the covers and the grade like COFAS or Allianz Trade. These are external data. It's really the heart of their activities, and well, you can learn from that as well. We can collect these data, gather, and really mix them with the internal data, well, to fine tune these predictions and these forecasts, these behaviors.
And so it's the matter of everyone's job. I mean, for me, dealing in communication, I face enormous amount of data on a daily basis, and I think everyone at the end of the day becomes data analytics in your job, because it's not only the information that you access every day; it's also how you process those data. And do you think that it's important to centralize all these data and information, whether it's internal or external, in just one place?
Yeah, it is definitely. Well, to either save time, to have a comparison between the data you have, maybe to talk about it with your colleagues, to have different perspective point of view about that. But that's the case in everybody's life, actually, to gather all the data and then, well, do the best of it. For example, last month I was looking to change my electricity providers, and we have some websites about that compares the different offers, different prices. This is data, and it is my job with this data, well, to look for the best opportunity, well,
Yeah,
for my consumption of electricity.
yeah,
It's kind of the same in the system. You have all of these data. You can take some, you can leave the rest, but the idea of MyDSO is to make it simpler for you to really target what you need and to do the best of it.
yeah. I mean, to do the best of it, and of course, to streamline the decision making process. Once you access the data, once you are sure about the process behind it, about the quality behind it, then you can definitely make a better decision in your job. So, I'm sorry. So, in credit management, what do we do with the data? I mean, there are, of course, indicators. There are not only indicators, there are reportings, there are different indicators, there are statistical indicators, and sometimes we need to change them and compare them. What do we do in credit management with those data?
Well, if you allow me to share my screen. Here it is. So here, let's log on to one MyDSO Manager platform. So here, that's the global view. So that's the first tab in MyDSO Manager, and it's basically a sum up of the different reports you have here. And all of these small reports are fed by the data that are being sent to MyDSO on a daily basis. So, well, actually, you can do many things. It depends on your role in the company. Here, I can quickly see in a glance the situation. That is my edging balance. Most of the overdue is here. This is my DSO trend, so I'm on a good trend. I'm on a good trend. Sorry. Here is my item status. I can see that most of my items are under the status promise to pay, and I have a few dispute. So it seems like my situation is healthy, and this is based, well, on the data we receive um, on a daily basis.
Yeah, so these dashboards and indicators are available for anyone using my DSO manager, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And as far as the data is not gathered or centralized in a place, I I can imagine that those dashboards or reportings wouldn't be available neither. So the analytical aspects becomes really important while seeing all these dashboards and indicators.
It is actually. I remember when I started credit management 10 years ago, I had to extract the balance sheet from Excel. And then that was quite impersonal. It was a bunch of data, and I had, well, to work out that file with well, calculation and so on. This is a bit more sexy, if you allow me the expression, because it's visual, and that's the idea. And it's less more tedious. I'm here. I can quickly see what's going on in a couple of clicks. If I want to put the emphasis on that bracket, well, I can. Here are the data. Plus, on the analytics side here, that is available here, I can sort these data per collector, per sales representative, per business unit, and so on. Any data that you have, we will be able to create filters based on it.
Yeah, that's the strength of technology actually, because as you said, it was very time consuming for any credit manager or anyone to gather the data on their own and then start showcasing such a dashboard. And then at the end of the day, if you, I mean, if you have done the job, I mean, to gather the data and then do such indicators, calculate them, and then you can finally arrive to the point that okay, let's analyze those indicators. But that's really interesting that you can customize based on different filters, and then it's real time actually, you know.
Yeah, it's way better that way. Uh, uh, Working in Excel at first will help me, well, master Excel. Sorry, it was it was a good teaching. But right now, everything has been automatized, so I can spend more less time on these low value added tasks, and have, well, the data here, sorted here, and available at any moment. So it's way more convenient. And plus, I can share these data if I want to download the graph and extract the data to Excel. But if I want a specific thing on a sales representative here, well, I can have, for example, the sales of, well, myself. Let's say I'm a sales representative. I can have my own sales and sell that to my boss, for example. So it allows also to, well, to target things, really to put the emphasis on what I want and what I need.
Yeah. And it's a very good tool during the meetings, for example, because you can have different stakeholders, different colleagues coming from different departments, and then in a glance, you can just show them here are the reports, here are the, the thing that we have done during the last months, and there's no discussion right after because it's obviously very clear.
Yeah, and shareholders, they do love graphs, so
Yeah.
everything is here.
And it talks to everyone. I mean, the visual aspects. It's it's interesting to everyone to have something, I mean, more beautiful, and instead of just looking to the numbers.
Yeah.
So So these were the things that by the use of technology you can do with your data and information, which can go really beyond what we shortly explained here. But what about we thought that it's really important to access those dashboards and indicators in real time. So the accessibility of data is a matter of fact for today's profession, any profession actually. They just want need them right now, and that's it. So the timing matters, and then it helps kind of to go in a manner of proactive rather than being just reactive to the situations. And there was an situation that when we interviewed a client was that a head of treasury of a corporate, for example, they just want to know, for example, the different situation of each entity in terms of cash flow. So, for example, if an entity is based in China, another is in the US, and the head of treasury is based in France, for example, it's very important that they follow the progress of cash flow of each entity. And maybe, Jeremy, you can just show how it would be possible by using the technology and making it a little bit streamlined for those profiles in credit management.
Sure. So if I go back and to about your example. So what I'm displaying right now is what we call the multi-entity. It's basically a group platform that will allow you to centralize and consolidate all of the legal entities of your group. So in that case, in my test platform, I have a company in China, several in France, in India, in the UK, etc. And no matter the language, the currency, or the accounting system, MyDSO can centralize and consolidate everything into one single platform so that, all in real time, upon each import, automatic import, I can have a group aging balance, for example, that I can filter here. I can have a group sales report as well here with my global sales revenue. Here I can also monitor the risk and the consolidated risk as well if I want to, even if I have common customers. That one, for example, is working with several companies, several of my companies in China and in France, etc. So that's the idea. Data in real time being sent to a system, being processed by a system, and then they will that will result in a group report.
Yeah. So either in entity level or in group level, for all indicators of credit management, you can access the reports, the progress, the dashboards.
That's pretty useful actually. Reports such as edging balance and invoices can give you a picture of the situation, but when you are more in the present, in the instant, that you need to have the information right now because something is at stake, for example the financial health of one of your customers, such platforms can be really useful. For example, in the consolidated risk, in the risk, but based on the at the customer level. I remember before working at MyDSO, I used to work in a European transport company, road transport. I was working in France, and we had that customer that wasn't paying. I was wondering if everything was all right with that customer. I ordered a financial investigation, financial inquiry from Dun and Bradstreet. But then, just by simply talking to one of my colleagues during the coffee break, I learned that that customer was also working with our Romanian subsidiary. So I had to call my colleague in Romania to know more about that customer and that if he was paying all right in Romania, which he was actually. I was simply not talking to the right person, and my colleague in Romania gave me the correct contact. With my DSO manager, well, you won't have to learn that random fact at the coffee break. The information is already here. Here, I can see that my colleague in China is working with such customer, and here I can access the Chinese platform. And moreover, here I can access my Chinese colleague, the users, and I can have their email address and call them directly or send them an email. And
Okay.
that's a good example of the power of the data being put to the use of the credit managers.
That's fantastic. So it means that, for example, for an identical client within a group, you can just, check or contact the credit manager who is dealing with that client and get the information
Definitely.
about the behavior of payment behavior of that client.
Yeah, definitely.
That's great. So hopefully you had
Pretty.
that coffee break to get the information. But right now, today with the technology, it's simple and kind of fast and furious.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, so in terms of accessibility of the information and the alerts, for example, you talked about the example of, for example, identical client, or for example, for credit risk limits. Actually, for example, when you are gathering all the data, whether from financial information providers or payment profile, that, for example, maybe you can explain more about that feature of my DSO that analyzes the historical behavior of a client, and then each client has a payment profile, and then also from the constellation that there are some information, financial information providers as well, like DMB that you mentioned. So there can be some alerts to for credit managers, for example, when they are negotiating the credit risk, the credit limits with their clients, etc.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So we actually have several tools to measure the payment profile and the financial health of the customers in my DSO. But at first, I'd say that the payment profile report is quite handy. So it is created here manually. Actually, the users of my DSO can create their own payment profiles. These little flags you see here. So here, a very good payer has a blue flag and do not pay later than 2 days, and an unacceptable payer usually pays after 2 months and has a black flag. So once you've said that, the system, well, thanks to your data, will automatically calculate each time an import is being made, calculate and fine tune the payment profile of the clients, and apply the flags so that you can see here in the top receivable and overdue client that two of them are bad payers. And then when you are on an account, uh, uh, um, aside from the payment file, you can as well define a credit limit. So here the credit limit is based on the cover that the insurance is giving us. So Allianz Trade here is giving us 100,000 pounds here. That credit limit can actually be tied to an alert, as you said, in the risk agenda. So here I have all the actions related to my credit limits. Here I have some credit limit reviews. Well, that will remind me to review credit limits, twice a year or once a year, for example, to see if I can grant them more or maybe less based on their payment profile and then their payment history. But we also have a different type of alert, which is, sorry, here, well, the exposure. No, the exposure here. Yeah, that one. Like you mentioned here in the page, the credit limit exceeded. So here in that test platform, we said that we want an alert once 70% of the credit limit has been reached. Here,
Yeah.
for that customer, I can see that I have an alert. Well, it's easy because the credit limit is at 0. So I have an alert here. The system is reminding me, watch out, 80% of the credit limit has been reached. Plus, but this is different. These are different data, but data still data though. No collection action have been done in a month. Plus, there is possible litigation on the way because these are really old invoices. But
Yeah.
all that long talk just to tell you that thanks to your data and thanks to the frequency of the data updates, such tools, well, can be really well useful. You can really rely on them to give you the information at the appropriate time. Thanks to my DSO manager, you will quickly know that something is going on with that customer that is not paying and that has exceeded its credit limit. And in the case that you are not the only company working with them, maybe you'll be among the first one to contact that client who is in a difficult position to claim your money before the others. Because if that customer who is having trouble pays first, well, I don't know, the paper provider, for example, Dunder Mifflin, for those who know, sorry. Well, if you pays them first, well, maybe there won't be any money left for you. So that's why you need to be warned uh,
Yeah.
the fastest possible.
Yeah, exactly. So as you said, I mean, but at the beginning of our discussion, we said that how important is the data, but right now, I mean, you have the data, but it is data processing, which brings such values for the credit managers that they start to make the decision as soon as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the last thing that we are going to cover is that how we can do more by technology about the data, because we talked about the volume of the data that we are dealing with, but I think the quality matters most. As we said, data processing is very important, but the quality of that data needs to be analyzed in some context.
I'm
You don't.
sorry, Yelda, I didn't hear your last phrase.
I'm sorry. I was saying that maybe the technology is. Is there any way that the technology can improve that data processing in terms of quality, in terms of I don't know, alerting, for example, those information are just obsolete and you need just to improve your data.
Oh, sure. Well, many different ways actually in my idea. So, but first, yeah, let's let's go back to the bases, for example. Well, I like the bases. These are important. For example, your contact data, because the contact that you have in my DSO manager here, well, they are the person you are going to remind in my DSO manager, the one you are going to contact to collect your money. Okay, these data might come from your client database and being updated on a daily basis. If for some reason or another, let's say that John here quitted from Languages Direct or had a promotion, well, maybe that email address will not be activated anymore. So your automatic emails won't be able to be sent because that email is no longer in use. Well, thanks to my DSO manager and other systems as well, you can be warned that the data that you have is not relevant anymore, and that might seem a bit not that important, but for me it is crucial because you need to have the correct contact at your customer place. You need to contact the correct person, well, to collect your cash.
Yeah. So that was related to the insights functionality of my DSO manager. That was the new feature of my DSO manager released at the
uh,
beginning of 2023.
yeah, for example, actually the alerts you see here are tied to the insights, and well, the insight is the tab you see here. It's at the end of the tab because, as Yalda said, this is our newest functionality, one of the newest. And an insight, well, it's basically an alert system to allow you to fine tune the data that you have in MyDSO Manager and create alerts tied to such data. So, for example, here I can have, well, alerts related to the clients. Here I can I can have all the alerts for the customers that do not have any contact, so for whom the collection process is not possible, or well, a contact for collection has not been defined, and so on. And if I click here, well, the only customer tied to that alert will appear, will be displayed here. I simply have to click here and here. Voila, no contact.
Mhm.
And I have the alert here.
And that's the case for the items. That's the case for the clients, for any category of the data that you talked at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think we are over. We try to cover all the aspects related to data in my DSO manager. I don't know, for those three indicators of AI credit risk, you would like to add something, Jeremy?
Actually, I already talked about that. I was ahead of myself because, yeah, that was the risk subject of the credit limits. But what you're showing here is a bit more rich. There are more to it here than what I've said. I talked about credit limits, but as you can see, we also have the risk category and the score. So in MyDSO, the risk category and the score can be internal. You have ways to calculate that based on your own criteria in MyDSO, but they can also be pulled from your credit insurance provider system. In that case, it can be, for example, well, it can be the categories and the scores of COFAS. And with all this information, well, MyDSO manager and its system, well, will do a calculate a predictive credit limits, and that can be shared with the other users of MyDSO manager in the other legal entities of your group.
That's great. So, yeah, you just did a short description of these indicators, but I just wanted to show the interface. And thank you for the explanation. I am going to make a conclusion about all what we talked. We talked about the Insight project, which is used to qualify your data. And the whole objective of today's webinar was just to show to what extent data is important in credit management, how enormous and how big is the volume that the credit managers are dealing with on a daily basis, and the data processing, which really needs expertise behind creating any functionality that can help credit managers. And at the end of the day, it's all the technology and functionalities that will help you streamline the decision-making processing and have access to any information, any single situation of your customers to improve your processes. That's all from me. Jeremy, any last word you can add?
That's all for me as well. Thank you for your time and attention, and I hope to see you soon in one of our other webinars, or even some events will be attending this
Yeah,
year. Sorry.
yeah, good point, because we are attending so many events this year. And don't hesitate to follow our news through our social media, through our newsletter, through our website, so you can get aware of our activities. And let's stay connected. Have a good day, all.
Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye bye.